Hey, it's Jason Hell. I'm here to do some movie reviews today. Got over the weekend from the library. I'm going to start off with this movie called The Illusionist. It's I think it came out in 2010 from
France.
France. It's from the makers of The Triplets of Belleville. It got an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature from the Academy Awards, like I said. It's basically about this old elderly man who's still trying to live his life as a magician, and he's not really finding much work. And he becomes friends with this teenage girl who like falls in love with him, and she looks up to him as a father. And he meets all these like characters that are like one's an alcoholic, one's a mime who's suicidal, and it just has a lot of. It's a silent cartoon. It reminds me a lot like the movie The Artist because it has kind of like the same theme to it. But I think it's worth checking out. The animation was really good. It had some CGI in it. It just made you feel like an actual movie. I know it's PG, but it's kind of a little more mature for kids because they do show a mime trying to commit suicide, and it has a lot of smoking in it.
Smoking's not.
And like it's just more mature for a PG rating in my opinion. The next video I'm going to talk to you about comes from Fox Searchlight Pictures. It's a true story about this man, Mark O'Brien. He lives with polio, so he can only move his head. He lives in a gurney all his life, and he lives in he has an iron lung. This movie's called The Sessions with John Hawkes, Helen Hunt, and William H. Macy. It's all about Mark O'Brien. He's a poet who he's a single man, never had a girlfriend, never had sex, he's never been kissed. And he goes to church one day because he gets this call from this disabled group that want to do a experiment with disabled people with sexual intervention, and he gets the word from the preacher played by William H. Macy, who he becomes friends with, and they hire this woman who's a sex surrogate, like a sexual therapist, played by Helen Hunt, to guide his way into fulfilling his fantasy of finally having sexual intercourse with a woman. This movie's really good. It's really touching. Shows you basically that everybody is kind of the same, even if they have a disability or not. The ending is really kind of sad because at the end he does pass away. This was back in the 80s, I think. But either way, you should definitely check this movie out. The next movie I'm going to talk to you about is a new movie from, I don't know, it's an independent film company from called Magic, starring Michael Cera, Juno Temple, Emily Browning, and Catalina Sandino Marino. This movie, I'm not going to give you much away of it because it's really hard to explain, but this girl named Sarah and Alicia go on this remote island with a bunch of Sarah's friends, and Sarah get a call from her college that she has to retake this exam. So Alicia gets stuck with these group of guys, and this woman, the chaperone, Barbara, and she doesn't know any of these people. She starts to realize that they're not like normal. They're very strange and just different. And like she starts like seeing and hearing things. She gets hypnotized one night, and there's one scene in the movie where she goes to this farm and she sees like this sheep herding dog come up to her, and the sheep herding dog starts like humping her leg, and Brink, played by Michael Cera, starts reenacting it, and harasses her. And she, basically she thinks that Brink's trying to like brainwash her and drive her insane. So she starts like seeing things and hearing things, not sleeping, and no one believes her that Brink is like the reason, is the culprit. And it just turns out to the worst. And Sarah comes back from her exam, and no one believes that Alicia's going insane. So at the end of the movie, it's just a really strange ending. Kind of leaves you on like a really like is what she's believing really going on, or is it just an illusion? I mean, I would say this movie's worth checking out if you like psychological movies. It makes you think. I watched the movie, and the whole day I still didn't really understand what really went on. It reminded me a lot like Black Swan, like if she was really killing herself or. So if you like these kind of movies, you should definitely check it out. This is definitely a different role for Michael Cera. He plays like the awkward, nerdy teenage boy in all of his movies, but this movie he was really like creepy and disturbing, and he believed in like, I don't know, this movie's all about like hypnotizing people, transcendent, trippy. So I definitely say check this one out. Other movies I'd like to review is the movie You're Next, from Lionsgate Entertainment. The movie's all about this family who gets invited to their parents' anniversary at their house, and during the dinner table, one of the daughter's boyfriend gets murdered by these attackers outside. And the whole film, this family has to protect each other from these 3 serial killers. And there is a twist to the movie. I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, but it's definitely worth checking. This is like by far one of the best slasher films I've seen in years. It definitely reminded me a lot like the 80s. It had like throwback 80s music, like techno, kind of like weird techno 80s music from like horror movies. And the acting was really good. The story was really good. It definitely is really over the top violent. But if you like horror films that bring you back to the day when slasher films were good, definitely go see You're Next. It's basically all the movies I'm going to talk to you about this week. Stay tuned for Indie Wrestling Q&A. This Saturday I'm supposed to be doing interviews with the Valor Pro Wrestling talents, and then ECWA up in Newark, Delaware. So check me out next time.